Now, this is the administrator's view. A counterpoint to this, gymnastics as a sport has been through the ringer and has faced a reckoning about the culture of fear and abuse that it created. So athletes for almost a decade have been told from the highest levels on down to use their voice. It might be that gymnastics is the only problem sport because they're the only athletes who, as a whole, expect to be treated with dignity and respect. We have Iowa State updates. We have been watching the Winter Olympics, and we have a lot of thoughts that we want to discuss with you. The 10s are flying in NCAA. The 2026 elite season begins this week. It's February 17th, 2026, and welcome to the number one gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica, and I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation, where you can get everything, including the schedules and all the things that the coaches and athletes are reading before the meet's even over.
That's not supposed to happen. You're going to get me in trouble.
You want to know the live blog that the coaches and athletes read? Yes, it's the Balance Beam Situation. But first, we have to talk about the headlines, which is that the Mr. Biles, the husband of the GOAT Simone Biles, thwarted an attempted theft in Milan. So,
big news. Tell me all about it.
So he took Simone on a shopping spree for Valentine's Day, which is funny because I'm just like, she has her own money, isn't it your money? It's all, but I like that,
it's
she
not
likes to be treated.
It's not about who's paying for it. It's about the thought and the occasion, Jessica.
Thank you, yes.
See, this is what we always say. Jessica doesn't understand romance, and I do. That is the theme of this podcast. If anything there has ever been, it's that I am a romantic. And Jessica
100%
is a cynic.
Anywho, love that he treats her the way she wants to be treated, which is the most important thing. But the thing that I love about the story is, Jonathan Owens, he's from a city. So he understands, theft and muggings. So they went on the shopping spree and he wrapped the bag around his hand. So, you always you never wear a purse or a bag over one shoulder because then someone can just rip it off. You always wear it crossbody so that people can't rip it off of you. You never put stuff in your pockets. These are the rules of travel or people that live in cities. So anyhow, he knows this. And so he was like, yeah, I tied the bag around my hand. So this guy tried to run up, grab my bag. And I turned around the minute that he realized he couldn't grab the bag from me. He took off. And then apparently security was on it and they ran after them and it was fine and they were okay and no one was touched. But the first thing I thought is, I was like, first of all, Simone travels everywhere with security, right? How did anyone get close enough to them to touch Jonathan Owens? I mean, what is him and not Simone? So, but yeah, I'm not pleased with the security.
What if it was a scene from a romantic comedy where they ducked out? They finally wanted some privacy, so they ducked out and avoided the security and then learned their lesson to a secret Valentine's Day shopping spree that no one knew about.
Oh my God. Like when the president's daughter escapes to go on a date in Stanford and then falls in love with her secret police. Yeah. Oh, Jonathan Owens said it was TikTok advice. So that's good. I mean, TikTok University is a real thing. So yeah. So anyway, they're fine, but I feel like they should get new security guards. So we have an update on Iowa State. Let's talk about the Iowa State season being canceled. So we finally have kind of an answer from the administration anyway about why Iowa State had their whole season canceled. We just finished recording, so I'm adding this after our discussion. A reminder of what happened. Iowa State canceled a meet last minute. Iowa State then canceled the entire season. They said it wasn't safe to continue that season and they didn't have enough gymnasts to field a team, which we know wasn't the case because teams have competed with literally one person on an event in NCAA. Then today, in a letter to the women's gymnastics student athletes and families, the athletic director gave more information. So, quote, "This decision to suspend the season resulted from a series of complex internal conflicts between individual teammates, coaching staff members, and parents. These conflicts created unreconcilable differences that not only prevented our team from competing, but also prevented the team members from carrying on their daily activities, including practice. In the end, suspending the remainder of the season was the only viable alternative, end quote. Note that AD is the AD who originally hired the head coach, and that AD mentioned the parents. This is very interesting because I've talked to several coaches who've said that their ADs have expressed frustration with gymnastics, especially the hyper involvement of the parents. Parents do not have rights to academic information about adults at universities, but for some reason, probably recruiting, this is not the case in athletics. So it's very telling, and I think should be worrisome, that the AD mentioned parents in this letter. And speaking from experience, in other sports, administrators and coaches even do not have weekly or even yearly conversations with parents. Parents don't involve themselves so directly in the lives of their adult children in college. I'm not saying the ADs are right or wrong about this. I'm just saying that gymnastics at some schools is becoming the problem sport that no one wants to deal with. Now, this is the administrator's view. A counterpoint to this, gymnastics as a sport has been through the ringer and has faced a reckoning about the culture of fear and abuse that it created. So athletes for almost a decade have been told from the highest levels on down to use their voice. It might be that gymnastics is the only problem sport because they're the only athletes who, as a whole, expect to be treated with dignity and respect. It could also be that the athletes misinterpret accountability for mistreatment. And of course, it could be a combination of many different things, and this is just one. But to know, we would have to hear from the athletes themselves. The letter goes on to address worries that stakeholders had about the future of gymnastics at Iowa State, saying, this isn't the first time gymnastics has had these conflicts. And about the viability of the program in the future, they said, quote, we share the same concern. Unfortunately, gymnastics is the only one of our 18 sports that has exhibited this type of recurring conflict. In fact, it has happened multiple times over an extended period, raises serious questions, end quote. Now, this is the administrator's view, but to know, we would have to hear from the athletes themselves. And Iowa State, I looked at their handbook because I like for athletes, if I ask them to talk to me, to know what's at stake and what the possible consequences could be. And the Iowa State Athlete Handbook has what amounts to a non-disparagement agreement in it. So I understand why the athletes aren't talking because they don't want to put their status as athletes who are eligible to compete in jeopardy. And a lot might want to try to get more eligibility or transfer. So the other concern is if Iowa State cancels gymnastics. If they did that, they would have to add another women's sports to be Title IX compliant, if anyone's left in the government to actually look at Title IX compliance. So the biggest problem I have with this whole thing is, where is the athletic director's responsibility in this? The athletic director continued in the letter by saying, quote, despite that level of support, talking about all the support and all the access to services that the athletes get in all the sports, it is clear our gymnasts are not having the same experience as their fellow student athletes. That is unfortunate and unacceptable, end quote. Beyond that, it is in fact the AD who hired the head coach, a coach who didn't have much coaching experience and no head coaching experience. If there have been signs, which surely there were because no one cancels the season overnight, where is the accountability from the administration who let the old coach exit and this coach come in with so little experience? Whose boss let it get this bad? Yeah, that would be the AD. It can't all be the parents and the gymnasts that are the problem because this is not a regular thing that happens. And this wasn't just a singular event. There were many things that led to this. So if any of the staff go, from the gymnastics coaching staff, I'd expect an administrator who let it get this bad to be let go as well. So we have posted the letter on our Blue Sky account, and we will have it up at gymcastic.com. So basically, we still don't know anything about what really happened, but don't worry. I'm on the case. So I think we will have a more full story soon. And I also understand the athletes not talking because they would probably have to wait until they know what's happening before they can actually speak. So we'll stay on the case for you. GymCastic is on it. Oh, so breaking news, by the way. Breaking in to bring you this news. Romanian gymnast Ana Barbosu is under water review after missing 3 anti-doping tests. So this is another case so this was within whereabouts checks within 12 months. This is the same thing that Yul Moldauer was suspended for. So it's not a failed test. It's a whereabouts violation, which means that like they surprise you and you're supposed to tell them where you are at all times. And so this is a report from Golaza in Romania, which has been covering all of the Camila Voinea stuff and all the stuff. So they tried to get her in Romania, and then twice at Stanford they went to practice and she wasn't there. So this could be a 2-year suspension for her. And I think 3. The interesting thing about this, though, is that we know that some people have whereabouts violations for years and nothing happens to them. And I wonder also if she's just like, oh, I forgot to tell you I never want to have anything to do with Romanian gymnastics again, so take me off the WADA testing list, because you can do that. But the first test would have been, still. So Stanford has stepped in to defend her, covering her legal cost with U.S. Attorney Howard Jacobs, $500 an hour. That is a cheap attorney. Let me just tell you, that is a steal. So this lawyer has a lot of experience with global doping cases. The key dispute is Barbosu was on Stanford's campus during the latest visit. Her defense says that the issue was a minor location issue. She was in the fitness center versus the dorm, not an evasion, which is part of, the thing that it's knowing ahead of time everywhere you're going to be in a given day is, especially in college, when your schedule can change a lot. In terms of the requirements for your team or being in the training room long or whatever. So Jacobs has represented 200 plus athletes, including Simona Halep. Wait, Heap? Isn't it Heap? And
Simona Halep, yeah.
Yeah. And Maria Sharapova. That's the tennis player.
See, we have, when Jessica has to talk about tennis players, everything falls apart.
Wait, was she the one that was taking the heart medication? She was one of
the Meldonians.
Yeah. So, he has secured reduced or overturned sanctions in multiple high-profile cases. So, I love that Stanford. Stanford are really, they're stepping up for her. I appreciate this. But keep in mind, this is the thing. Like, I think the Romanian media is going to be like, she's doping. The thing is, like, so many athletes that you don't know about because it never made it to the press have had whereabouts violations. This is not uncommon. And sometimes it is because they're evading. Like one famous doper who jumped out the window not to take his test. And
a lot of times it comes down to, do you have someone who is in your corner going to bat for you? Which was some of the question about, like, Yul Moldauer's issue. Right? Yeah. Where he felt like, who's in my corner helping me the way other athletes have been helped when they're not doping, they just had a whereabouts violation.
Right. So just keep it in mind, it's not a negative test. Okay. Where were we? It is elite season. It's happening. It's starting this weekend. The Swiss money meets in Germany are happening.
No.
Cottbus.
Cottbus is not a Swiss money meet. Cottbus is in Germany.
That's what I said. Germany, the Swiss money meets of Germany.
And it's a world gymnastics apparatus World Cup.
Yes.
It's the first apparatus World Cup of the season. So, yes. We'll talk about this, actually after the competitions happen when we have things to talk about. But I just wanted to mention that these things are coming up this weekend. So, in Europe, in Germany, Cottbus, the first apparatus World Cup of the season. Really nice field is registered for it. It usually gets a very good field, very exciting. So Kalia Namor is on the list, Karina Schoenmeier, a lot of Italians, Giulia Perotti, Emma Fioravanti, Elisa Iorio. Sugihara is on the list. Hopefully Jessica's like, what Leo are you wearing? I mean, also your gymnastics, but like, what Leo are you wearing? Did you design it yourself? Marta Piankuleja, Oksana Chusovitina, some of the legends of the sport. Also, a lot the independent Russians who were at Worlds last year, not Melnikova, but the other ones, the new ones, Kalmikova, Roshchina, Vasilyeva. Very interested to see them in particular because I felt like at Worlds last year, it was different. Like Melnikova was like, I know how to do this. And they were like, this is our first time and we don't know how to do this. And they looked kind of overwhelmed by the experience. So maybe another year, more events, interested to see how that goes. Also, both Heath Thorpe and Tomas Gonzalez are on the list. So men's floor artistry is going to beat women's floor artistry. So we're also looking forward to that.
Tomas Gonzalez. Oh my God, I'm so excited he's competing again.
So this is like has qualification to Worlds implications as well, because it's the first of the apparatus World Cups. So, you know, if you're on the top 8 on the list, you get a spot at Worlds. So also has those implications. And Winter Cup this weekend in the United States. The men are going on Saturday. The women are going on Sunday. It's streaming for free on USAG's YouTube. So we give them, you know, the requisite check plus round of applause for not putting it behind a paywall, free to grow the sport. Hesley Rivera's on the list, Simone Rose, Claire Pease, Risa Sponda, also some of the new seniors who were star juniors last year. Charlie Bullock's a senior now. Caroline Moreau's a senior now. Men's side, also return of Yule Moldauer. Shane Wiskus, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, Shane Wiskus also, because he's been, you know, injured on injured. So I'm excited for him to be back. And Yule is back from being suspended for the whereabouts violation. So
anyway, that's what we're watching. We'll talk about it next week after things have happened, and we'll see who actually ended up competing.
Before we talk about more news and all of our thoughts on Winter Olympics and what's going on in NCAA Gymnastics, we have a new design in our store. And it is our College and Cocktails design. It's vintage. It's distressed. Spencer loves it. You can let everybody know about your priorities by getting this design at gymcastic.com in the store and supporting the artist who designed this. And we also have the Team Bronze design, so you can support the athletes while subtly giving a slight finger to the parties involved in taking away medals. And also we have College and Cocktails this week, Spencer.
LSU at Oklahoma on Friday. College and Cocktails. We're meeting here around 7:30 Pacific after we watch that meet. Hope it's weird.
Oh, it's always going to be weird. We also have live show season pass, 4 live shows with the price of 3. This is only on sale for a limited time. So you want to get this as soon as you can. Fantasy podcast every week on Wednesdays, where we tell you who's a steal, who's a buy. You can join our fantasy league anytime because there's weekly winners. You don't have to have done it in December. And we have a bunch of newsletters, which are very popular, by the way, that Fact Checker writes. And you get all the stuff that we didn't get to on the show. And they're excellent, if I do say so myself. The Winter Olympics.
Oh my God. We've been watching so much Winter Olympics, you guys. So we were like, we're a gymnastics podcast, but let's spend like an episode talking about the Winter Olympics. We did this. We did a heated rivalry episode. There are no rules anymore.
Right. Also, I just feel like it's so... The thing that I think about, first of all, is like we should really just live stream ourselves with all of our comments about the Winter Olympics, because
it's so freeing because we're not going to get texted by the actual people we're talking about.
Yes. Immediately.
Jessica's not going to get like, how could you say that about me? They don't know us, so it's fine.
Right. Yeah. So I always think like, what can we, the thing that I think is like, we're going to talk about what can we gymnastics learn, or what should gymnastics learn from figure skating.
From figure skating, yeah.
But I always think like all the sports need to get together and be like, here's how we have tackled this issue. How have you tackled it? And like solve some of these problems that are universal to the sports. Because I'm like, oh, you know, this sport has already figured that out, while gymnastics is still 1,000 years in the past. And this is so simple. But
and that extends to, there are a lot of judged sports in the Winter Olympics. Like there's a lot of things gymnastics could learn from snowboarding is its own category. Because there's like, a lot of like, oh, you figured out that it's cool to say like funky names of things, for instance. And gymnastics, like, we couldn't possibly say the word Tkachev because it will turn off the interest of the viewers.
As a former skateboarder, I would just like to say that they're just the same names that came from skateboarding.
Sorry. Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and I say former because, no, I would go back to adult gymnastics for skateboarding is so scary. There's no mats, Spencer.
That's because, like, if you've listened to behind the scenes, you know I hurt my shoulder while throwing a sandal, so I can't do a lot anymore.
Okay. So let us begin.
I do have an opening disclaimer before we begin.
Ready.
Because figure skating people who might be listening, we know what it's like when outsiders try to wade into your niche sport and they don't know exactly what they're talking about. Like, we're still not over the bronze debacle and having the Paris floor bronze be like international news. And like, if you don't know what a gojin is, you can't talk about this. But we'll do our best to avoid those pitfalls, and we'll probably fail. But just a disclaimer that, like, we get it. When you get mad that we don't know exactly what we're saying, like, we get it.
So first of all, I've watched a lot of skating and a lot of Winter Olympics. Both of us have. And then I watched the Glitter and Gold, which is Katie Walsh's new documentary about the ice dance pair. Wait. Oh, I looked this up so I wouldn't mess it up.
You are. The disclaimer just is ruined.
Thank you. Yeah. Ice dancers. Thank you.
Yes.
The ice dancing, which is the pair skating, is where the men throw the women in the air and try not to kill them while dancing. No helmets, which is another thing. Don't get me started on the no helmets in the figure skating. The hockey boys, the women aren't like that. The hockey boys don't care about themselves, and the patriarchy has made them think that they're weak by not wearing full face masks. But at least they have helmets on. The figure skaters are like, no, beauty is more important. I don't care about my brain. Anywho.
Do you mean they have the correct impression of an artistic sport?
Just dress it up. Put a headdress on. Big wigs on your helmet. I don't know. At least wear those things that will like explode if you get too close to the ground, like the skiers wear now. Remember, I talked about a long time ago how they had developed this thing in Japan where, like, for old people, if they fall over, it's basically like one of those pillows that blows up like you have in your car, an airbag. But you wear it, and you can barely see it on the skiers. And we saw it deploy in some of these accidents. So I'm like, just wear that. It just looks like you have a exoskeleton on your back. Decorate it. Put a spine on it, some spikes, dinosaur theme. It'll be fine. Anywho, you guys.
On the topic of what gymnastics can learn from Winter Olympic sports, we need to learn from the skiing that I was watching last night, where the one who was supposed to win in the second round of the slalom skied out and then just threw his poles and then just started walking into the woods. And I was like, I've never identified with anyone more.
Yeah.
Good for you. Throw your poles and then just walk straight. Like, where is he going? Just walk straight into the woods.
Yeah, I love that for him. He gave an interview afterward because he's not a pussy. He took his time, and then he still talked to the media about what was going on, and he talked about what was happening, and that his personal life.
I need to throw my poles into the snow and then walk directly into the forest.
Yeah, we're talking about McGrath, who's born in the U.S., competes for Norway, so you know.
Okay, so
Glitter and Gold is on Netflix. It's Katie Walsh directed it, and it's so good and so informative. I think it's the best work. She did both of the Simone documentaries, so anything she watches, like Deanna Hong, whose goal, it's called Tender, which I didn't get, but goaltender is what the goalie's called in the hockey. And so she has a documentary out, and it's on LA Sports on YouTube, and it's fascinating. There's a lot of weird goalie things, like juggling, and
good to know.
But I would watch it. So that's the studying that I did, besides the watching and having my own personal opinions. Okay, so
I want to start with the GymCastic debate club.
I'm ready.
About judging system. The prompt of our debate club is: should gymnastics follow the lead of figure skating and go to a grade of execution style judging system?
The grade of difficulty thing is
grade of execution, because I'm already trying to intercept your the letters.
Okay. Grade of execution. So, when I always say if it's a switch leap and it's not 180, don't get credit. Or a switch half and you never actually turn your hips around or do a split, it shouldn't get credit for a switch in elite gymnastics. I'm talking elite or NCAA. Because as a former, coach of not elites and high school, we depended on a lot of just pretend like it's a switch leap, even if you only get, 30 degrees apart, like not even close. You'll fulfill the requirement. But I love this of it having a grade of how close were you to fulfilling what the thing is actually supposed to look like and the absolute execution of it. Did I describe that right?
Basically to describe it. So like elements will have a base value that can then increase or decrease based on, how well you execute it. And then there are also like things can be under review, like jumps can be under review for, being short of rotation. How it would work for gymnastics. So we're thinking like you want a system where would you retain the letter values and then they could go up or down based on quality of execution? Like front aerial on beam is a D. If it's ugly, you can go down to a C. If it's great, it can go up to an E. Like, would it be that kind of thing? Or would you ditch the letters entirely and do numerical values like skating?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know, but I do like the idea of the 5 up, 5 down, like they have in figure skating.
Going as much as plus 5 and down to -5.
Because I think about a lot of times when we talk about especially NCAA season. So say someone does a double back dismount off, which is like not very hard not for normal people, but in NCAA.
A top elite context, yeah.
Right. A bar dismount. But like one person just meets the minimum requirement. Like they do a double back and they're just above the bar height. But then you have someone who does a double back who has Mara Chitrasole quality of execution. It's so perfect. Legs together, pointed toes the entire time, doesn't even bend her knees on her tap into it. But then they have like insane height and are like 7 feet above the high bar on the dismount. Like that should be a +5 for a double back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's so much better than just getting credit. And I think that's what, especially in NCAA, we are missing hugely. Like you're giving credit, but then someone does it 1,000 times better than you've ever seen anyone doing. There's no way to reward that. And I love that figure skating has that. So I don't know if it would be letters or numbers, but I like that it basically translates my stars and heart system in my notes.
I know, this is the problem. You're just like, I want to give you 5 gold stars and a check mark and 3. Yeah.
But that is like it's like the virtuosity. That's what it's translating. Is it the best it's ever been done? I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely get that there are pros. Like the idea of, like you mentioned, incentivizing pursuing excellence. Like that you would continue to try to get better beyond the status of avoiding deduction. That you, like, in gymnastics, you kind of hit a certain level, especially like you mentioned in college, where you're avoiding deduction and then you're like, I don't have to get any better. Yeah. Whereas like you might be getting a +3 for how you're doing it and you can still strive for more. So you're trying to get better in terms of, or do something special in terms of trying to increase that. There's also the degree to which fans can see how each element is received rather in its own, as of itself, rather than just waiting for a score at the end. Yes. Which I do like, because you don't, in gymnastics, we don't get the receipts, which I would love. I mean, you could just keep the same system and we could get the receipts on how each skill was deducted, because we just have to wait for one total at the end and you don't know where it's coming from. It kind of forces judges to lock in a reaction to a specific thing rather than just kind of vibesing it at the end. Mm-hmm. And being like, overall, well, yeah. But I will say, I think I overall come out on the con end, even though I think there are positives. Like in that, I don't think this would be the right right direction for gymnastics, because I think it's very broad and kind of an oversimplification, can be an oversimplification of execution. Like in gymnastics, what we have right now is, so say someone does, switch split on beam, great amplitude, great posture, hands, that's all great. Back knee is a little bent and turned out, and you're kind of short of split. Right now, judges can say, okay, well, I'm rewarding amplitude kind of because reward, but through no deduction. But I'm going to deduct a little bit for, the knee, the foot, the lack of split. Okay, I have these deductions, and now move on to the next element. When you have to come up with one overall but overall score for the element, you kind of have to mush all those qualities together and say like, oh, it all ended up coming out as like it was kind of fine, and you lose the specificity of the fact that like a single performance of an element can have a lot of different qualities, and some can be really good and some can be not as good. And if you have a grade of a single grade of execution, you kind of have to triangulate like, okay, does having great amplitude count more than having a flexed foot? Is a flexed foot worse? And then you have to decide, you have to have a code of points that's telling you which matters more, which is good this more than bad that, or can you just have all of them? So I think, I like the idea that you have that. So you lose the specificity, I think, of the different deductions by saying like, oh, this is just +1.
I think like part of it is like when I think about NCAA, which the season that we're in right now when we're recording this is they have one panel and FIG has two. And FIG I like way better because I want one person just to be in charge of recording. Did they get credit? Did they meet the requirements? And what skills did they do? And I want someone else to be in charge of trash. Best thing I've ever seen, which is the E panel. So that's
those are the things. Yeah.
Yeah. But I like how you put that because it is interesting to think about. God, because I'm kind of like, I want the stars. I want people in charge of stars and poops. But I also want the deductions on your knee was bent, and I want to know exactly why. But it's not like they can tell you that right now.
I know that's why that's the thing. It's like I on the side of the current gymnastics judging system, but it's not like I think it's going great. Like I have so many problems with it still. Yeah, but my ideal is that you would keep the specific deductions for each thing, but we would also have receipts, so you would see it and you would know it. And
that's why I love the idea of something like Elevian and what the figure skating has are. Effectively, I want a time stamped with the routine system of deductions. So the judges don't have to, the two panels don't have to keep track of everything. When they look back and they're like, okay, 2 hours ago at the end of the meet, how can I give my feedback? They can know exactly, oh, when you did switch leap, here's what I took. So this is why I took that deduction. Enter numbers.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a positive. I will say the other thing that I kind of thought of when you were talking then is there is like gymnastic. I mean, I'm not saying figure skating is mentally healthy either. They're both just like a mental disaster for the people who compete in them, both gymnastics and figure skating. But I do think there is an aspect of if a judging system has built in the opportunity to compliment, it can be mentally healthier if you are specifically getting like positive compliments from the judges, because the situation in gymnastics right now is
all negative.
The binary is it's either criticism or silence. Like the best you can do is no feedback because there are no deductions identified, and it's like both of those aren't great because you're like the people who do really well, you're like, so you're just ignoring me? Like now I feel ignored. Is that good? Is ignored good? Because it doesn't feel good, and you kind of have the more of an ability to compliment, which is probably positive. What do you think? Okay,
and with that, I think about the I always love how the Australians say they got paid credit. So you got paid on that, which is amazing that the Australians and they're, I feel like, not known for they're this big poppy culture or whatever, where it's like if you think good of yourself, you cut them down immediately. But I like that is a positive mental way. But there is, with the the thing that you're pointing out is that there's no way to reward something that is excellent from just no deductions and having that plus system. But I also want to point out that I learned in Glitter and Gold, Netflix.
Ooh.
Is that like they all, they have, it's like rhythmic and trampoline where you have to go to a series of meets to qualify to things. It's not just like qualify to Worlds, go to Worlds. Oh, you go to the Olympics. It's much harder and a much more consistent system, but they all go to one of these meets and everybody gets like only a 1 for some skill. Like the world champion, the Olympic champions, and and they have this press conference like, how did we only get a 1? Like we've never gotten a 1 since we're like 6 years old for this skill. So it's not that everything can't be fraught with problems.
Oh yeah, very famously. I do going great in all the judging always.
Yes, but I do love that the athletes at a press conference were like, "The fuck is this?" Which, yeah, positives.
Thoughts on elements being under review, because that always gives me like immediate gymnastics panic, because I'm like, can you imagine if like the D score judges could mark anything for under review? I'm like, it already takes 9 hours to get the scores. It would take like every single ring position would just immediately be under review. And I'm like, oh no, I can't deal with you taking more time. Like you got to make a decision. Move it or lose it, Tanya. Was it a ring position or not? Let's go. I don't want a review. Just decide. You're the judge. What did you see? Go. Move.
Yeah. Move on the one hand, I think this is better for the audience because we all know we see something and immediately we look at each other while we're watching. We're like, no credit. No, that's never going to get like, how it is sitting next to me, Spencer. Yeah. But but I also think, then there is that moment where the audience knows, oh, the judges thought that too. They thought maybe that wasn't great. But then I also see how it is for the athletes being like, the fuck? You just told everybody that you're questioning my skill. Now everybody knows it's on the screen. But it's like, if you get to this level, you can't let that stuff bother you. You have to you have to practice not caring, which is impossible, but
yeah,
easier said than done. But I kind of like it.
Yeah. Oh God.
It has to be
make a decision. Make a decision.
Like figure skating scores are faster because like most of it is done during the routine.
Yeah, I mean it takes a while after, but it's also one thing. It's not four different routines during a meet accumulating in terms of waiting for your score. I will say my favorite thing, my biggest what gymnastics should learn from figure skating is following along with the live scores during the Olympics.
Yes.
I want this, let's do this. Because we were able, if you have the live scores open, everyone had their planned elements listed, and then you saw the check mark go as they do it. And then the score they got with the grade of execution factored in. I want this. Let's do this. I want to see, you did side aerial, layout, step out, check mark. Here's what we thought about it in the moment, rather than no receipts waiting along. Like I want to see the routine as we go in the live scores.
Yep. The fact that we got this at Russian Cup last year and it still isn't rolled out, this is totally possible. This system has already been implemented in gymnastics. It's been possible for years. There's no reason it can't be implemented. In fact, it could keep things even simpler if this is done. And Alevian again has this system that can be implemented. The interesting thing about what you mentioned with everyone in knowing the prescribed routines ahead of time is that's what happens. And this is another thing I learned in Glitter and Gold is they showed the process of the judges coming and reviewing and giving feedback. And man, it's way more all up in your business on everything. I mean, it's just like more normalized that there is a conversation back and forth, which is better now, like at camp in the US. But it's like a constant situation, and going in like what you're getting credit for and what you're not. And like this is what is done in other countries, but in the US, it's just not. It's still sort of like the judges are better than everyone else and you can't talk to them. There's still that like air where it should be like everyone's on the judges are on the team of helping the gymnast get the best score that they can. I love that it's normalized to constantly get feedback and know what you're going to get credit on if you do it as you're capable, because everybody knows, as watching the Olympics or any Olympics, like crazy things happen and nerves are insane and you're not necessarily going to do it to the best of your ability. But there is that, just, it's a regular feedback loop. It's not that the judges are too good to talk to you. And I think that's, and I know there's judges who are super helpful and are not, you know, like that and are great, but it's just not, you know, it's another thing where I feel like the judging should be professionalized and they should be paid more and they should be traveling around to all of these gyms and giving feedback regularly. It shouldn't just be like, oh, it's a special favor that you got from Tom Forrester because he happened to be in the neighborhood, so he stopped by and gave you all this feedback. Like, everyone deserves the same treatment.
And then you use hair in your floor routine and become the Olympic champion.
Right, exactly.
Also, the issue, a lot of the criticism of U.S. camp in gymnastics is also that it's all the U.S. judges and that they feel like it's not representative of what they're going to experience at like a world championships.
Yep. And this is exactly like when we were talking to Damon and Patrick, and they said they use the 11 app because, except they pronounced it in this like really beautiful way. And I was like, is that the way you're supposed to pronounce that?
I mean, probably.
Yeah. Olivien. And because they could get international judges to judge their camps. And I'm like, yeah, that's really smart. That is the way we should be doing it. Yeah. We had the same notes. Okay. Cons to the system.
Okay. My question kind of about it is the idea of submitting planned elements and what you think about it. Does that bias the judges to credit something? I mean, gymnastics is already doing this on vault. You flash your vault number, but it doesn't mean you have to credit it. But do you think extending that to the other events would be a positive, or would it be a premeditated, like, oh, that's what you were going for, so that's what I'll credit?
See, I don't think this is a problem because the judges are already there during podium training and practice judging. They already know what the fuck you're going to do. So like this whole idea that it's like, oh, someone's going to see and then they're going to cheat and all of that. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's not like you're doing this you have a secret cloak over you.
You mean the Chinese gymnasts didn't steal the idea for L grip pirouettes from Nastya, who invented them?
God, it's just nuts. So yeah, I don't have any problem with this. I think it would help. And it doesn't mean that you can't improvise. Just because they know ahead and you're saying and it makes it easier for scoring, it doesn't mean you can't improvise. And in fact, I think that is a huge benefit. And everybody knows that that certain gymnasts have 7 different routines because it's the kind of gymnast that can move and do something different, like on the fly, and can improvise, which is a super helpful skill. So it doesn't prevent you. And I don't think I don't think this is a idea of a problem that doesn't exist because everybody already knows what the gymnasts are going to do.
I feel like it's a huge opportunity, particularly for ESPN, to do this for college, because they're just tend to be more like adaptable to trying new things, even if they don't work. Because sometimes they've put up graphics and they're like, okay, well, that didn't work. We're not doing that anymore. And we also know everybody's routine because we've already seen it like 7 times so far this season. We know that, like, if you had a little box where it was like Ray plus Pack, here's the bonus, here's the skill value bonus and the connection bonus, and then you get a little check mark next to it, I'd like that to follow along. Then they need like an actual judge
to push the buttons
to tell you like that's what happened, because you need someone there to be like, this was good and this happened. This wasn't improvised. But yeah, I think there's an opportunity to do that.
Yeah. I mean, now that we've said it, Scott Bregman can just add it to his list of that little scoring app that he invented, which I love.
Scott,
it just has the numbers.
You have to input everyone's routine in advance so that we can do execution deductions for specific elements as they pop up. Come on, Scott.
Yeah, Scott. Okay, we have a group of amazing volunteers who input the scores when they're not automatically coming in to our fantasy system. So are you kidding? You know, there's a nerd out there that already has all the routines in a spreadsheet.
All the routines and all the bonus.
Yes. Yeah. Let's give those nerds a platform. This is what we're here for.
And it's a nice reminder because I always forget things in NCAA that are different values than elite.
Yes.
And I'm like, that doesn't start from a 10. Oh, wait. Yeah. You get like a bonus for a giant fall and you don't, yeah.
Spencer, when do you usually realize that you forgot to eat?
The second beam routine of the rotation. and get through like bars and like through vault and bars, and then we get to like the first fall on beam, and I'm like, why am I? Oh, right, I need to eat. I need some protein in my system because we're working against a fall.
We are very much enjoying the Huel, Huel, ready to drink and black edition powder, which I have behind me, which is almost gone because I have this normally for breakfast. Because then I just start with having met my protein goal, and I know I'm not going to sink into, you eat breakfast and then you're like, breakfast. It's also like dessert. And why don't I have pancakes with lots of syrup on them and treat myself? It's going to be a hard day. I really like the chocolate and the vanilla. But I also like the ready to drink. They have like this banana and strawberries one, and fruit can go wrong easily. But that one's like my favorite of the ready to drink, which is surprising to me. It has 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. No artificial flavors. That's what we like. Gluten-free. It's under $5 a meal. It's a complete meal that you can literally grab and go, and that's what I do. Normally, I will have it like right before we're about like an hour before we start recording, because then I know, especially when we do college and cocktails, and I'm like, I have to make it another like 4 hours because I have to get ready, do this, and then I have to edit it. So it's always just like the perfect thing to get me through and make sure I have my energy level there. And the powder, instead of the ready to drink that I can mix myself, it has the same benefits, the same high protein, all of that stuff, but then I can add stuff to it. Like I can put a little banana in it, I can put a little creatine in it, something like, how I love my creatine, Spencer. It's the most important part of my life.
If you are trying to make it through an entire beam rotation, this combo makes it stupidly easy. This is a limited time offer. Get Huel today with our exclusive offer of 15% off online with our code GymCastic15 at Huel.com/GymCastic15. New customers only. Thank you to Huel for partnering and supporting our show. Okay, so I want to talk about TV broadcasts, specifically in the US NBC. Is figure skating broadcast something that gymnastics should learn from or should not learn from overall? I'm not asking you to give one grade of execution on it, though. You can have differing opinions about different categories.
Just in general.
Yeah, the NBC broadcast should, in the topic of what should gymnastics learn from figure skating, should gymnastics look at what NBC is doing for figure skating and learn some things?
So a couple things, like number one is like seeing what's getting credit in real time. Obviously, we just talked about that's the most important thing. The other thing I think is that they shut the fuck up during the routines on NBC in figure skating. And that is, except when there's something like really important to point out in the moment, or when like everything goes to shit, they'll also talk about this, like it's the Olympics, this is really hard, kind of framing like when Ilya had kind of a meltdown routine, it was like, yeah, this is really hard. And and also framing it as, we've never seen this happen before. This is super unusual. I hope he's okay. But otherwise, letting the audience have their own experience with the art form. And then you can talk about the judging. I so appreciate that. But also pointing out the important things, like, that is the hardest skill being done in NCAA. This is a brand new element that she will get, if she completes it right here, blah, blah, blah. Those little things. But especially on floor, shut up. That's the most important thing.
I don't really agree. In some ways, I agree. But I feel like rare is the gymnastics floor routine that is artistically interested enough to earn silence. Like, it's like three, to be like brutally honest, it's like 4 of them. And the rest, it's like, you're not doing anything interesting enough for me to want to shut up. Like, I want to say, you didn't hit that split position because you're just smiling and posing and flicking your wrists. So what is that? I'm supposed to shut up during the art of that? What art is that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess
that's how I feel. Like, I watched UCLA's meet this past weekend. Yeah. Nola Matthews did exhibition on floor because there's still too many deductions for a routine to be in the lineup, even though I want to see it. And I'm like, oh, this is a routine I want to shut up during. This is a routine I want to experience. I want to listen during the whole thing. it's few and far between that you get that kind of routine in gymnastics. Like, I think if gymnastics wants people to be quiet during their floor routines, they need to step up the artistry and deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. There are very few routines like that.
And I want at least, and all of them, I want at least a little bit of context. And it doesn't have to be like yammering through the whole thing. I don't want yammering through the whole thing unnecessarily, but just a few words to be like, didn't complete that wolf turn. Like, let the audience know, because they're not necessarily watching, like, for the two, your average fan isn't necessarily watching, like, did she get those two full rotations around on that wolf turn? Like, she came up an eighth of a turn short. She's only going to get credit for a single wolf turn that's really going to hurt the difficulty score, is a significant thing that you can kind of point out and say, and you can just say, like, a little under rotated on that wolf turn and then shut up again. But just I like adding a little bit of that. But I do like having the score box. I think it helps the commentators be able to not say anything, and the GOE score box, because you as a fan can see it that, oh, that was bad. Yeah. And they don't have to necessarily say, you have to rely on the commentators to say it was bad. If you're like, oh yeah, okay, that was bad.
Yep.
I think that helps.
And for me, I really like the colors, because then I don't have to look at the numbers. I just know.
I feel like that's something that I'm fine with for figure skating, but probably if I knew more about it, I would be really annoyed by.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
I'd
see
be like,
that.
that's not, why are they putting green next to that? That's barely even good.
Yeah.
That's not even green. We do have a letter related to this that I want to read and then react to from Anthony, which we didn't do on College and Cocktails because we were saving it for this conversation. We are being denied Johnny Weir as a commentator. He doesn't need to know anything, but my gosh, I haven't laughed so much at a sporting event. He doesn't have a whisper of artistry, but he jumps well. These are quotes. Takes off for his triple like he's winding up for a sneeze. Can you imagine him talking about floor choreography? It would be devastating and hilarious because, as we say, gymnastics is a comedy, not a drama.
That's right. The balance beam situation, 20, whenever you started. I laughed out loud, earnestly, several times watching figure skating because of Johnny Weir. And it was hilarious, and I felt like not demeaning at all, because the athletes don't know. Like, of course they know. This is the thing that kills me when people think, like, you know, the athletes are surprised. Their coach tells them this every day in practice. The one that made me laugh out loud was when he said, there were some skaters who, like, you know, he's trying to murder her because she's a perfume, or he's sucking the marrow out of her bones.
The
vampire one
based on the book than a movie, Perfume.
Oh yeah, Vampire Smells is how I remembered it.
Okay, yeah.
And anyway, he was like, yeah, so I had to ask them, what flavor do you wear? And, you know, hers was blah, 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 he said in French. And then he said, and then Johnny Weir said, and he wears something with a cowboy hat. Yeah. Like, he's so funny, but like, there is like a respecting funny thing about the way he says it. Like, I feel like that he can get away with those things, one, because he's earned it, but also like, it's not demeaning or mean, where I feel like for so much of gymnastics, we had demeaning and mean commentary, but this is like funny in a, you know, I don't know. There's something about him that makes him, I feel like it's not personal, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I think it's really funny. I think it's great. Yeah.
I would say I appreciate a willingness not to just say everything's great all the time from everyone, which is the trap that I understand so much. That, like, the lesson learned is that, oh my God, honesty is not worth it. It's so much easier to just pretend everyone's great.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate, I appreciate, like, oh, this isn't as good and here's why.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And it's because we're all having reactions at home. Like, no one's like, really, is anyone watching this being like, I'm just so proud of all of them, they're so great? Or are you like, that Matador free dance is dumb.
Oh.
And you deserve no points for this dumb free dance.
Oh my God. During the documentary, those two are in the it's basically the three teams that won medals are the three teams in Katie's documentary. And like, when they were coming up with that was all I could think about. All I could think about was you and being like, this is so basic. This is so basic. But then, you know what I love? Okay, going back to the things that figure skating should learn, or we should learn from figure skating, they don't keep their routines. A gymnastics routine is for one season. This is what we need to take from figure skating. It shouldn't be so hard to get your one floor routine right that you can't perfect another one another year. That's what I have to say about that.
Or, you know, show up at a meet in Minnesota and then be like, actually, my Prince routine would be the good choice here.
Right.
Very doable.
Yeah.
Elite, if they can do it in college, you can do it in elite.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I would like, one thing I will say is I would like a little more, as someone who doesn't know like all of the ins and the outs, I would like a little more emphasis in explaining what we're looking for in terms of the component scores and not just the technical scores. I feel like there's an overemphasis on that, and it's one factor, but that's also the same as gymnastics because like they're explaining anything. Yeah. So that's not something that's different, but I would like to know a little bit more about, because it makes me think that like the component scores are just very arbitrary and they may be, and the figure skating fans will be like, yeah, because they are. Because they just give high component scores to the people who have good technical scores, and it's not even based on what they're supposed to be based on. Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I would like a little more explanation. And of course, there's sort of the unavoidable NBC-itis of it all, where everything is like rah-rah America, and you know, these are the storylines, and I'm like, I'm done with storylines. I don't want to know anything about anyone's life. Tell me about the component scores.
I'm glad
there's moms. I don't care about your moms.
That was the worst. I was like, oh my God, there's so much less fluff in the Winter Olympics, which I think is great. There's less fluff. But then the fluff I wanted to see, I liked, like in the luging skeleton something, one person luge, bobsled. There was a woman, they did a thing about her kids, and I was in there working out at home, and that was really interesting. And then monosled, excuse me.
Mono-bob. We call it mono-bob. Because then I thought it said mono-boob, and I started laughing. That's why I'll always remember.
Danger sledding. It's all danger sledding. But then they did the thing about the moms and figure skating, and I was like, oh my God. All I can think to myself is like, if you don't get anything when you do an interview, you don't use it. They must have been so starved for content that they were like, let's make these moms happen. But I was like, we would have been friends. Oh, it was so boring. I was like, is this a joke? Is this an SNL parody?
Do we prefer that to completely inventing drama about people that's not true? Like all of our years of watching gymnastics, where we're like, that didn't happen. That's not right.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like that whole thing, I agree with you, but I felt like the whole moms thing could have been reduced to a comment when they were growing out on the ice, like, her mom takes a beta blocker before that.
That's what zinged it. That's what you remembered. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to talking a little bit about music and artistry. What gymnastics can learn from
everything. 1,000 things, all of it. Okay. This was my biggest notes. I was like, new routine every year. Why aren't there costumes? Why aren't you allowed to do a different costume that matches your floor routine? Men's and women's, because they're trying to bring back artistry for men's.
But men would have to have a theme for their floor routine. That's not like I woke up in a ditch and now I'm doing a floor routine, which is the theme of 90% of it.
But I'm like, yeah, you
my shorts don't fit, and I'm sleepy, and my hair is weird, and now I'm gonna do a triple back that's perfect.
The theme is homophobia. Here I go. The costumes could be so great. Like if you could change your Leo for men and women on floor, it would be so cool. I would love to see themed Leos with your floor routine.
You need the jaws of life to extract yourself from the first Leo before squeezing yourself into the floor Leo in between the rotation. You need a longer rotation break for that.
You 100% totally would. It's so freaking hard to get out of those things. Yeah, it's totally true. There would be a tiny amount of time needed, but it would I feel like it would add a lot. Also, just more bling. I just feel like I love how they have
You want more bling?
On not on the leotard, on their bodies.
Oh, on their bodies. Because I'm like, the thing leotards don't need is more crystals.
But also, Michigan's Leos this weekend were so pretty in person. They were too busy on the back, which everyone's doing. Like, why? Just less When you design a Leo, then take something off before you leave the house. You know that rule? Chanel or something. Uh, it's like, we're going to a evening gown in the front and New Jersey Beach in the back. No, you guys. So, yeah, I just like they have like their makeup's very dramatic. Like they have like the eye sparkles, which the whole college team cheek sticker that doesn't count. Get out of here with that. Nobody wants. It's tired. It's like crowning yourself. But the problem in NCAA is we get someone would just wear a Leo with their face on it because personality. My personality is the theme of this routine.
Hey, let's go. That would be interesting.
Yeah. But I think like that what was so interesting in Glitter and Gold was learning about how in depth. I mean, the art is so much more important in figure skating, and gymnastics has totally lost that. And it's such a shame because it used to be as important as it is in figure skating in so many ways. And like they had a coach. Are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. They had an arm specialist for sharp movements for voguing.
Gymnastics needs an arm specialist.
Yes. They had
who just says like
I just teach you this.
Everything's too high. All of the gymnasts, all your shoulders are too high, and you're worried about your posture, and everything is too stiff. So let's go down and remember that your spine can move.
Take your wrist off of your arm and straighten it out. Yeah. They had like three, like their choreographer and then a dance coach for this and then a arm specialist, and it was like and they're cutting their own music, and also the whole time they're cutting the music I was like, you're cutting this stuff and you don't even know it's copyright cleared yet. They didn't even talk about that part because we know what happened to the Moo Moo guy that didn't have his song cleared, or who Minions, not Moo Moos. Which Minions art
we were on okay, understanding pain of a nation. That's what I want to talk about. Because the skating is really understanding that, like, I don't want to see your joy. I don't care about your joy. I want to know I want to see the expression of your ancestral difficulties. I want to see emoting. I want to see drama. I don't want you to have fun. We got enough fun. There was some Olympic event where I love some of the camera work in the Winter Olympics has been great. And I keep wondering if CCTV is gone because it's better than it has been in the past. Although the sound mix is terrible. It's also been terrible because we have to hear the stupid drone sound, and I hate it.
The drone sound's ruining it for me. I'm like,
I hate it.
Can we get AI to take the drone sound out and keep the rest of it, because it's killing me. It just ruins it. I like hearing the shh. I hear the wind. I hear the mountains. What's that from? I love it. But Fame, that was like a 1970s movie that's very good.
I've been in the play of Fame.
Oh, were you? So you know the quote that I'm talking about. And I feel nothing. That one. But it's like mountainy and you get nature and it's pretty. There was a guy, he had his hands over his face, like, how could this have happened? And I was like, oh, Spencer, this is the gif Spencer wants to see all the time. I really like that you can be weird and you're not penalized for it as long as you're good enough. Like the Canadian team. The thing is, like, Jesus, saying the Canadian team is so like arbitrary because all these people are not from the country they compete for, or they've competed for 7 different countries. Like, people complain about country hopping in gymnastics, figure skating. 1,000 times worse. Like, I'm on my 7th passport, and so is my partner, and neither of us has any connection to the country we're representing, which I love for them, because get as many passports as you can, because
one. I don't think I've heard any commentator say that anyone is showing off their personality.
Yeah. Because you won't win shit if you try to get away with that nonsense in the figure skating. They have to take dance. They have to learn to dance. I also liked in Glitter and Gold where the Canadian who's competing for the French, who's the Olympic champion now, she was coaching kids, and this was the complete opposite of what happens in gymnastics. Is she was doing this exercise with them where she was like, it's important how you interpret the skill, how you interpret this. And they're skating around and she's doing like this lunge with her arms, and they're all doing it in different ways. And I was like, Never in the history of gymnastics since a Soviet dance class in the USSR has that ever happened, and probably not even then. I was like, no one does that. That does not happen. But it's such a good lesson to learn, because I feel like also this is how we got the greatness of Horkina's gymnastics, because she and her coach had to figure out what worked for her body and not just fitting into a mold.
And also showed the power of narrative, because if you had listened to people talk about it, you would have thought she was 19 feet tall, and she's 5'5", which is pretty normal even for gymnastics.
Yeah. And if you go to any college meet, you'll see plenty of gymnasts. Their one team has someone that's 5'5" to 5'7".
The tallest person there has ever been on Earth, and she's in the WNBA. Okay, but I feel like we've been a little too complimentary of figure skating, so I need to bring it down by talking about the concept of lyrics in your music.
Okay,
I'm putting in the category of things gymnastics should not learn and should not take from figure skating, because I do not like it and I don't think it's good. Especially when you have to choose some broke ass cover of a song that's actually good, and then you're like, why am I listening to whatever these sounds are? Because I hate it.
I hate the lyrics so much. I can't, it takes me completely out of it. I'm instantly feeling cringe. I hate the skaters. I hate all the decisions they've made. I immediately am against them.
You don't like it when
people.
you use your own voice saying Pinterest quotes in the middle of your program, and then you expect people to not think you're the villain of the competition?
I mean, I do love that they're willing to be the villain, because clearly that was a villain move. Also, did you notice how Ilya Malin, the way he looks, and also his outfit looks exactly like the bad guy who comes out of the painting to harass people in Ghostbusters or Ghostbusters 2, and he like has to get his. Did you right? He looks just like him.
I was gonna say I feel like he's intentionally giving. Who's the one from Game of Thrones? The twerpy little prince.
Yes, the guy. Yes. Yeah.
I expect you to know the characters' names because you like watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I blocked it out because he's so evil. Oh, but wait, I have to go back to copyright again. So, just a copyright note here. So we have they did get their music cleared. There is copyright clearance. So the skaters did have it cleared with the rules, but then there was a different check for the Olympics. So all the skaters were like blindsided because they were like, what's happening? Which we've seen that happen too in gymnastics. And I feel like it has to do with broadcasting normally, when there's something where you like, the fuck? And it's usually broadcasting rights, because broadcasting around the world is a totally different thing. So
anyway,
where were we?
Music,
I hate
spoken word, lyrics.
No. The worst one ever. Do you remember that French team? I think they were French. They skated to the I Have a Dream speech, and she dressed as the Statue of Liberty, which was a gift from France to the United States. So I get it. But I was like, no, and no. And just the fact that you've done this, you should be excluded from the competition. It was so inappropriate and cringe. And like, ugh. Yeah. It wasn't art. It was literal. And that was the problem with it.
Also, I will say, like, this past weekend, I was in an Uber where the driver was listening to what I can only think was AI generated Jesus poems, like set to music. I was like on the verge of laughing at the end. I was like, I'm glad this ride is only like 7 minutes, because I don't know if I can do this. And I'm like, the number of gymnasts who would use something like that as their lyrics for their music, I'm like, I'm so glad we don't have to deal with that.
Oh my God. I like when they do opera, sometimes I'm like, oh, because no one can really understand opera, even though they're just singing in like French or German, or Italian, or German, but then I was like, you're in Italy, everyone can understand what they're saying. This is gonna ruin it.
Yeah. Also, there was a lot of like Italy pandering, but like doing it through the medium of choosing music from Gladiator, which I'm like, that's not Italian culture. Like, what are you doing?
What I was waiting for.
I'm not into the extreme, like what Al Trout would love style pandering.
What was missing though was Bella Ciao, the anti-fascist theme of World War II, which has re-emerged since Italy elected their right-wing president, and J.D. Vance was booed very loudly in the opening ceremonies. Like, that's a song that would have been very well placed in Italy in this time and didn't have to be totally literal. You could dance to it and the whole crowd would get it, and the people that know would know, and you don't have to dress as the Statue of Liberty. No words ever. It will ruin everything.
We love melodrama, but keep it off the nose.
Yes. Yes.
That's the lesson here. In the topic of should not learn and is trying to learn but shouldn't is the kiss and cry.
All right. What are your thoughts? I love it.
Hate it. I hate it. Why? You should, having to sit with your coach to get your score is weird. And it's something, I think it's one of those things, like, you know how we talk about gymnastics, like after the meets where everyone's sitting straddling each other and they've just been doing that in their lives for so long, they don't realize how weird it is. And it's so creepy and strange and you should stop. But
okay, they're not straddling each other. They're sitting on the floor in straddles back to back.
That's called straddling each other.
No, it's not. You're making it sound like scissoring or like they're on top of each other. And
did I say scissoring? Happening. I didn't say scissoring.
But
I said
straddling each other means you're on someone else's laps.
They are absolutely straddling each other. They're all straddling the entire team. It's so weird and it needs to stop.
It is weird and it's
but everyone's been doing it since because they've been doing it since they were 3 years old, and so don't think about it. This is like what figure skating I think probably doesn't think is weird, but is super weird, is that you have to sit with your coach to get your score. Because like imagine all of those years of gymnasts having to you have to sit next to Bella while he's belaying around while you get your score. It's like, and then you have to react, and it's like an overdramatic reaction. Like, it's already weird when they do it
when they pretend to cry.
Oh, well, pretending to cry. I mean, I'll take pretending to cry.
Well, I think it's weird when they finish their routines and then they fall over and one person cries, and then the women are always like, get up. Oh my God, stop being so dramatic. Yeah. But like, the thing is, like, I'm just like, if you have to fall down, you weren't in shape for this. Although I understand altitude and all of that, but like, you should have been training.
Do you feel that way about marathons, about cross-country skiing? Because they are all like vomiting afterward.
No, because that's the entire sport.
The
like,
entire
that's
point
all, torture yourself and throw up at the end, or you haven't even tried. Like, that's, I feel like there's so much of that. They probably wouldn't be able to not throw up and fall over. But I also understand pushing yourself to the absolute limit, but they shouldn't be pushing themselves to the limit because they should have been practicing this the entire time. And their cardio is amazing in skating. Because imagine them doing like 10 floor routines, but also holding another person over your head the whole time. Like, it's really hard. So I just think I can't stand that they're always falling over before they salute. It's like, just salute and get off the floor or bow or curtsy or whatever. But I love the kiss and cry. I feel like if you don't respect your coach enough to sit next to them while you get your score, then they shouldn't be your coach.
Well, yeah, but
also I don't care if the coach is there or not.
Welcome to the real world.
But also, yeah, I don't care about the coaches, and I think it is weird that they position the coaches like that. But yeah, I don't care to see them. I like the World Cups where they make the athletes sit on the couch or the little square.
I mean, little square. Yeah. Sometimes we get good stuff.
Little box.
I'm like, it's so.
Yeah. Also, this kiss and cry. They have those giant puffs. Kleenex boxes there. Nowhere near the athletes. They're on like a stand that's no like 5 feet in front of them. But yeah.
On that note, throwing the things onto the ice.
I love it.
I hate it.
Yes. More of that, please. I tried to start that in gymnastics.
Why?
It's great. I love you're throwing tokens for appreciation. What? The thing is, like, I think
so that they can throw them in a dumpster in a second, because no one wants this crap.
Have you never been to the theater? You throw the flowers at the ballerinas. That's where it comes from. It's a theater tradition, and they still have art in this fucking sport. So of course they throw the things. Although I know it's messy, and then you have the whole team of little girls, but also one boy, which I appreciated. Have to be a cleanup crew. But then that's really exciting for them. Crew. How cool.
Yeah.
You get a front row seat to the Olympics and all you have to do is pick up shit after they're done. Oh my God, that's the best.
Okay, but like what is happening to these things afterward?
They get donated, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure they get donated. There's like there's got to be some nunnery with an orphanage around. It's Italy. And they just, that's,
they give them to someone. What I feel like, and I feel like this they give all the little stuffed animals on the medal stand and all the little things. I'm like, if you can't eat it or drink it, I don't want it. If I can't consume it at the event, if I have to figure out what to do with this crap afterward,
but they don't. So they put them all in a bag, and then the athletes can take what they want, and then they leave the rest, and then they'll donate them whatever. But you can't eat or drink anything because that's how you can get a doping violation. Did you just see the news about what happened to the flight attendants? Someone gave them gummy bears, these flight attendants, and they ate them. And then they all had panic attacks because there was a drug in them, and it was a safety issue. And it's terrible. You cannot eat things that strangers give you, which is why I was so upset that freaking Nola was at the airport with the lady with the candies, the cactus candies, and she asked to have one. Anyway, Spencer, you would be drugged immediately. Someone would have given you some gummies, and you would be done. I'd be like, Spencer, why can't you do the podcast? And you'd be like, because I'm having too much fun. That's why. Okay. Wait.
Anything else about figure skating? Okay, yeah. Yes. We have more about figure skating. Okay.
Okay. Should you have? I love the idea that they had a theme, like whichever routine. One could be like whatever you want, and the other one, obviously ill-advised Toro routine with a long skirt that kept getting ripped. That was nuts. Can you imagine someone choosing a costume that went over your face as a partner so you couldn't see? Oh my God, that was nuts. Anyway, but clearly she does what she wants in that relationship we already talked about. The chalk and tall.
Chalk and Bates.
Chalk and Bates.
Chalk and tall. That's their name.
Tall boy.
Eyeliner and tall. That's that's what they should do. They should have to come up with nicknames, like the Brazilian soccer players. The ice dance team should have to come up with nicknames. That would be good.
I'm sure Johnny Weir has nicknames for them.
Nicknames you can say on the broadcast.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. The quad god Ilya, he came up with his own nickname, and as you know, that is a bad luck. Like, do you know there's a gymnastics meet where it's a great meet, and I love this idea that it's like when you do well, they donate money to the charity of the team's choice. It's so cool, but the whole theme is like umbrellas. So there's open umbrellas indoors at this meet, and they're opening umbrellas all the time. And I was like, I can't even look at videos of that meet because I was like, is no one from the East Coast? Is no one in touch with their ancestors? Like, you can't open umbrella indoors. It's the most upsetting thing I've ever seen. But anyway, I love the idea of the meet, just the umbrellas. We have launched games.
Whoa!
Yes, GymCastic games. Have you ever wanted to play a crossword, Wordle, word search, but gymnastic versions of those games?
Yes, I have.
Yes, you have, Spencer. And you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know everything. I can't spell at all, and I still play these games. And I can't remember anyone's name. You can invite a friend so you can play together at the same time. There's a Gymternet news quiz, so if you can be like, what happened this week in the news, and take the quiz. The Gymdle is updated daily, so we hope you guys like this. There's a free version that you can test these out and see what you think, and then there's an extended version for our Club Gym Nerd members, because we have a club and we do extra podcasts for them every single week behind the scenes and college and cocktails. And now you have games too and discounts on stuff. Hope you enjoy the games. Check them out at gymcastic.com. There's also a new photo gallery on the site of the Michigan UCLA meet, thanks to Fact Checker, who featured prominently in the broadcast of Beam.
I was going to talk about that. The beam angle, if you watched it, was like 30% the beam routine and 70% fact checker taking pictures. And I was like, I know Jessica's here. Is she also directing the broadcast? Because you claimed you were off the clock. But I was like, I only know one person in the world who would be like, you know who the star that everyone's going to want to look at mostly here? Fact checker.
I mean, there's a reason he isn't in the cluster of the other photographers. Anywho, where were we? Theme music. 90s music was the theme of this.
Oh, for the ice dance, the the first one, was 90s themed.
Rhythm.
So no one knows the rhythm dance was the 90s themed, and no one knows what the 90s are. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the idea of you have to have a theme and everybody has to do a routine to that. Should gymnastics have 2 floor routines, all the elite gymnasts would want to slap me in the face hearing this right now. But
well, your ancestors used to have to learn a compulsory routine.
That's right. They used to have to do another routine and do a series of 5 layouts in a row on beams. So calm down. If you had one routine that's like, yes, just tumble your heart out and barely dance, and then you had one where you actually have to perform and there's more opportunity to dance, like a long program, except it can be the same amount of time, but you just have to do side passes or something. I would love that. And we had the themes like Pain of a Nation or 80s.
Or, the 2 themes.
That's the only themes. Neon.
That's the best encapsulation of our collective taste level. The acceptable themes are Pain of a Nation or the 1980s.
Okay. I do want to say,
rhythm, similar to gymnastics, they used to have more compulsory things, like the rhythm dance used to include like a pattern thing.
Yeah. The one thing that's really upsetting to me watching the pairs and the other pairs, the duos, where there's 2 people dancing together. Pairs and dance.
Which are 2 different
right.
disciplines.
One, you toss the other person trying to kill them, which is much more, that's the most exciting one of all to watch. But hello, helmets, or at least crash parachutes. The one that, the thing about watching that is that, there's so much boob grabbing.
Whoa.
It bothers me. Like, it's so, I know that you have to lift people up and you have to do this and they're very comfortable with each other, and I don't want to say I'm sure it's consensual because we know the former Olympic champion partner of the Frenchie wrote a book about how she was very unhappy and lots went on. And she felt very in control. But I was just like, oh my God, that's a whole boob grab right there. It's not just the side hand placement.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be a deduction. If there's any boob grabbing.
Boob grabbing should be a deduction. I mean, there's a lot of crotch lifting from the crotch.
Yeah, which is just, you have to. But it's not hand on the crotch.
Sometimes it is.
Well, yeah, sometimes it is. I guess that's true. But that's an acro too. I don't know why. I feel like that's just a necessary way to lift someone. I
do feel like it should be illegal for brothers and sisters to do ice dance together.
Yes.
It gives me the creeps.
Yeah, it is. I totally agree with that. It's yucks. But what if the brother is gay? Then
I can say that
with partners.
I can say that it's still gross.
Yeah,
I can declare nope, it's still not allowed.
Okay, I want to talk about the other Olympic sports for a second, because I do want to say what's frustrating for me is, like, I constantly hear these complaints about gymnastics. It's like, it's so complicated. No one can ever understand this sport of just getting credit or getting deductions. How freaking hard is it? But then I'm watching like snowboarding and I'm like, I don't understand why that was good. Like, why was I can see with my eyes that was really hard and that looked really scary. But I don't understand why some people fall on their butt and it seems to be fine, and other people are like,
really?
I don't get it.
We're like touching the ground at the end, and they're like, well, that's fine because he was so high that you have to touch the ground. And I'm like, tell that to Simone.
Right.
Does Simone Biles get a like, oh, well, she went so high on that tumbling pass that she had to touch the ground when she landed? No.
Like, it's so frustrating that people think like, oh, that gymnastics needs every explanation because no one could possibly understand it. And then we're watching NBC snowboarding primetime and I'm like, what the fuck? I have no idea how the sport works. The other thing is, I feel like in the olden days, I love how snowboarding kept its culture, which is like very punk. You know, it used to be basically illegal to snowboard at ski resorts. Like, they would literally chase people down off the mountain. But so I love that they've kept so much of it, like the music and all that. But in the olden days, you would have gotten a bonus point for booping the camera person that was standing too close to the edge. Not hit them, not cause any damage, but you would have done a little air, boop the camera, boop them, and then because they're standing too close to the edge. Yeah. That's what I think.
I mean, you use the word boop, and now I'm like, are we going to talk about curling's boop gate?
Oh my God, that's clearly cheating, right? But I love that there's no judges. They have to fight it out for themselves.
It's largely self-governed, which is kind of the problem. I could do hours on this.
I know there was a Canadian who said the F word to another country in the game, which I was so shocked. I was like, what, women can't have a hair out of place, but you can just cuss the Swedes or whoever, Norwegians? What? So unacceptable. You're representing all of Canada right now. Okay. In general, though, I have really enjoyed the coverage, except that some sports are really boring. I have.
That's a shame. Yeah, that really hurts.
There's just so much less fluffy bullshit, and I hope that this continues. And they've also talked about all the scandals. You know, that is all out in the open. So I appreciate that. Except for the ice dancer who was partners with the old Olympic champion, who's now the new Olympic champion from France. They didn't go into her specific allegations, but they did mention it at least. Okay. NCAA news.
Okay, yes. Do want to talk a little bit about NCAA because we mostly had to talk about figure skating, but there is still NCAA gymnastics coming up. First of all, we need to give our Opportunity for Comedy Award of the week, starting with that to Wales' own Molly Morgan. Do you want to describe what happened on beam?
She does a jump onto the end of the beam and then is falling off, but like a champion, saves it by just accidentally kicking up into a handstand and stepping right down and staying on the beam like a professional. Because if there's anything you learned in gymnastics, it's how to fall with comedy and not break anything. So hats off to you, Morgan. We salute
I
you.
Appreciate how hard she was laughing when she finished her routine. Because yes, that was the correct reaction to that mount.
I agree with that.
Okay, tens update, because the tens are flying now, as tends to happen around this time of the year. 4 more tens this weekend, which brings us up to 12 for the season. So we're ahead of the pace from last year. Faster to 12 tens than we were last season. So Addison Feta on vault, which we talked about on College and Cocktails. Kaylin Chio on floor. Avery Neff on bars, Jordan Childs on floor again. Childs now has 16 tens in her careers, which she's now tied with Jade Carey. So I feel like she has to stop. She has to stop getting tens now because she's tied with Jade Carey. Like how, Kyla Ross and Maggie Nichols ended up tied on tens. So now, okay, Jordan, you have to stop getting tens because you're tied with Jade. Then you shake hands and you're like, we both have the same number of tens. That is the end of tens.
I really appreciate the video that Jade put out yesterday where she was like, done with gymnastics? No, I'll come back for 2024. And then she starts going and was like, wait, 2024, that's not what I meant. Which I felt very seen when she did that. I went to the UCLA Michigan meet in person just to be a fan and hang out with friends for once. Mm-hmm. And it was really nice to see in person, and it was Jordan Childs had a bad meet for her, which is understandable.
She only got like a 39.6 in the all round.
It was bad for her. Right. I talked to her mom after, and she was sick and didn't even know if she was going to compete, but it was still like amazing, and she got a 10 on floor. I thought Michigan was 100% going to win, and then UCLA goes to floor. And that's always, but Michigan is, their fitness is so incredible. Their skills are so like crispy and good, but their floor, I can see they're trying, but they just need a full-time actual artist choreographer, not a gymnastics choreographer, to fix their floor, because it is what is missing. They have so much potential there, and they're trying, and you can see, and they have different themes, but it's not there. Like, I see that they just the whole summer should just be dance class and getting them out of gymnastics, because they should be doing better with their floor, and they can, and they're capable, and I really appreciate them.
Okay, I have an important question, because now Kaylin Chio got a 10 on floor. So now she has 10s on 3 events. Jordan Childs also has 10s on 3 events. So Kaylin Chio still needs bars. Jordan Chiles still needs beam. Who gets the gym slam first?
How many more home meets? How many more
long pause?
How many more meets do each of them have at home?
That's like they need to be at home to get these scores. These days.
I mean, I feel like Chio should. But I feel like Chio. Yeah, I think she is the best gymnast in NCAA.
I'm going to go with Jordan Chiles. I think Jordan Chiles beam 10 at this point is more likely than Kaylin Chio's bars 10.
What about Selena at Florida? Because she only needs floor.
Twist.
She gets a floor 10.
Yeah, well, maybe it's first for her.
I know.
Because I could see that happening in a second. Because you can pick apart you can find deductions in all of these. We could talk about those. It's really more about like, where do you go in the order? And that's what I think is hurting Chio, because like she's earlier in the order on bars.
Even though it shouldn't matter.
Feel like, I know. Well, yes, we're not saying what should happen.
I'm just reiterating.
I also do feel like when Courtney Blackson has been in the bars lineup, it hurts Kaylin Chio's scores because Courtney Blackson's Horkina is better. She has more amplitude.
Courtney Blackson is the best. Yeah.
And like sometimes you feel like, are they waiting for Connor? Because Connor, if she does everything the way she can do it, that's a realistic 10. It just always seems like there's something like she catches the church close. But I think like the potential is there. So I kind of think Chiles is most likely. If but like the race is on. For narrative, if nothing else. But the race is on.
Speaking of which, if you would like to support the bronze medal debacle athletes, we have a Team Bronze shirt in the store at GymCastic.com now. Show your support against the FIG Suck It, Anna and Jordan World Peace. That is the theme of that. Okay.
So do we know if they're going to do anything for that meet?
I hope so.
Pretend it's not happening.
I hope so. I have made my very specific plan and ideas known to all parties. So, because
now I'm worried because I'm like, what are your plans? Are they weird?
My grand plan is that basically they need to control the narrative because it's not, the athletes aren't against each other. It is, and these are not the same rules as the rules in FIG. So it's not a head-to-head matchup. They're doing, it's a totally different sport, NCAA gymnastics. But when they compete against each other, it's like, yeah, they should have a meeting. They should put their message out, take a picture, do something, maybe wearing like medals that look like hearts with world peace, something, we are all one on them, something like that. And they control the narrative that like we support each other. And they don't have to say this, but the implication would be, but the IOC can suck it. And the judging and cast.
You mean they're not going to say that out loud? Whoa.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So they need to control the narrative, and there's that opportunity to just diffuse before the meet starts. And I think that is the thing, to just be like, I don't have anything against you. This is great. I support you. Have a great meet. So that's the grand plan for world peace.
Yeah. Okay. I'll allow this grand plan.
Okay. I'm glad you.
I was worried there was going to be like, oh, and then there's a pit of water, and then like children jump into it, and then they like dance around, and then there's a witch, or your normal ideas. Okay. Rankings update, because NQS season is upon us, Jessica.
Wait, they could go pick a stick together. They could do a little video of picking out the stick.
The Stanford stick. Well, UCLA needs one too, so they like Jordan can pick out the Stanford stick, and Anna could pick out the.
They don't use anything. They very specifically don't use anything. Only one person gets to use something at UCLA, and that is, if you notice, Sydney Barros, because her grandmother sent her the Puerto Rican hat, and so she uses that because her grandma sent it to her. But otherwise, they don't do a stick crown.
Okay. NQS season. NQS is happening. So we were basing things on season average. Season average is gone. New NQS is in place, which once again, drop a high score, drop a low score, average everything else, as long as you have the correct number of home meets. But no one's run into home meet trebles yet, so that's fine. The rankings are just drop a high and a low, average everything else. Oklahoma stays number 1 this week. LSU closed the gap. So LSU scored a 198.325, and that's the 5th highest score in LSU history, by the way. So that's, a thing that's happening. So it's slightly less of a margin to Oklahoma, but Oklahoma still won, LSU 2. Alabama stays at number 3. Florida moves up to number 4, bumping UCLA to number 5. This is our fun with NQS update for the day, because Florida lost a meet and scored 197.575. UCLA won a meet and scored 197.725, and Florida moved ahead of UCLA. And it's because of now you can drop a low score. Florida was able to drop that Missouri meet, so then their average looks better than it was before, because UCLA hasn't had a really bad score.
Now, if like I said, that win and loss record should matter, then Florida would have moved down because they lost 2 meets, but moved up a ranking because of NQS, like you said. But I'm just saying, I would like that. Also, the hat is called a pava, which we also saw in the halftime show. So what everybody was wearing. I think that's really cool that she gets a special thing after her routine. I know, it's like feeling, Spencer.
I know.
I can't believe you say you're better about romance than me, but whimsy. It's whimsy.
Whimsy. Yeah. All right. Also, I did want to say, so yeah, that's just NQS things. It's what happens this time of year. But that's why Florida, did worse than UCLA this week, but moved ahead of them in the rankings, because they could drop a low score. Also, Pennsylvania, the University of Pennsylvania, is currently in 36th, which would be the last regional spot. Which never made regionals before.
Super, super, super exciting. I love when the academic schools make it. It's not just always Stanford. It's really awesome.
There's a long way to go.
And
but
Cal,
currently they're 36th.
Yeah, it's really cool. Individuals.
Pitt's 35th. Penn is 36th. The state of Pennsylvania is having a moment.
Coming up.
Okay. Individual. So individual NQS, by the way, the system did not change. That's the same as it used to be. So the new NQS system, that's just a change for teams. All around, Jordan Childs remains at number 1, obviously. Addison Feta moves up to number 2. Avery Neff moves up to number 5 in the all-around. Those are big changes. Kaylin Chio and Delaney Rodriguez remain in the top 5. We had some changes because Joss Robertson doesn't have enough meets. Anna Roberts doesn't have enough away meets yet in the all-around, so they were ranked high and dropped off the rankings entirely just because they don't have enough meets yet. But so we had big changes in the all-around, but it was just kind of like, it wasn't like they had absolute disasters or something. On vault, Addison Feta scored a 10, moves up to number 1, bumping Kaylin Chio to 2nd, Jordan Childs to 3rd. So we had a change there. What are your thoughts, Jessica? Vault rankings. Like, if in Jessica world, what are the vault rankings? Because I feel like maybe they're not this.
Yeah, they're not this. Sage Kellerman.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Chio is correct. Chio should probably be 1. Jordan didn't have a good week. So, and she has deductions on her vault, even when she got a 10, they weren't 10s. So, but also great vaults. But yeah, I would have Chio number 1. And also Feta got a 10, but it wasn't a 10 too, although it was a great vault, absolutely beautiful, but pike tips. So, yeah, I'm Chio and Sage Kellerman.
Got it.
My...
On bars, Chloe LeCourcier and Jordan Childs stay 1 and 2. Lily Smith and Kamara Eccles move up to a tie for 3rd. Maggie Slife is still top 5. Okay, we have to. Maggie Slife is the star of college gymnastics this year. Like, you thought it was Jordan Childs, but actually, she just destroyed the Air Force all-around record.
Yeah,
like she said it. It was her record, and then she beat it by like a 10th and a half.
It's amazing. She's freaking amazing. I can't get over how she's just. How do you do that at that school and are this incredible? But I guess that's why they recruit brainiac super freaks for Air Force. So it's not surprising, but it's just so hard to do both. So yeah. I mean, we have Home Slice also from Air Force on the men's side. The great Irish
Patty Hoops.
Patty Hoops.
Sorry, it took me a second because I didn't know who Home Slice was. Because like someone should create a spreadsheet of all the gymnasts Jessica calls Home Slice because it's too many, and I cannot differentiate one Home Slice from another. On beam, Faith Torres moves. We have a tie development. Faith Torres moves into a tie with Kaylin Chio. Then it's Sienna Alipio, Joss Robertson, and Kaylee Boozer and Jordan Childs tied for 5th.
Can I just tell you, Kaylee Boozer in person, even more magnificent. Even more magnificent. She is so incredible. Just and absolutely a delight.
On floor, Jordan Childs moves into first place. She was not in first place before, but, you know, I guess 4 10s in a row kind of moved up. Is she going to beat the Jeanette Antolin? That's the question. Is she going to beat like Jeanette Antolin, who was 7 straight 10s on vault?
I mean, but
do we think
for
Jordan's
floor, yeah.
For floor, but do we think Jordan's going to get that many 10s in a row?
How many meets are left? She would have to do it every single.
No, she has enough meets. But
I feel like
have to do
regionals and nationals. Time. Yeah, I mean, her landings were great. It's totally possible. Yeah, I think it's totally possible too. Yeah.
But she bumped Lily Smith to 2nd on floor because Lily Smith only got a pedestrian 9975 this week. It wasn't even a 10. So like, come on, what are you? Is this a try? Bree Clark at Clemson is 3rd. And then we have Kamara Williams, Sydney Seabrooks, and Kalia Lincoln tied. I'm just really glad we're getting to see Kalia Lincoln more regularly this season.
Me too.
All right, your bracket. I have a light bracketology update for you this week because if the season ended today, Florida, UCLA, and Utah would all go to the same regional where only 2 teams can advance to nationals. And that would be very fun for me.
I also think that would be very fun.
I don't think Utah's going to stay ranked as low as they are, but they have to eat a 195 that has to count. So that they have to hold on to for the rest of the season. So there's going to be some, like it's going to be very tough for them to move up that much. They're going to get they're going to make things weird in someone's regional.
Yeah. Huge thank you to Stacey Nash, a producer and director with, is this like her 12th Olympics? How long ago was Beijing? A long time. She has worked many, many, many Olympics, and she was our special fact checker in charge of not getting us in big trouble with the figure skating fans for this episode. So thank you, Stacey. You are a gem. We will see you on Friday for College and Cocktails, the group therapy session for gym nerds, where we pick a meet, watch it together, and then scream about the scores together. We are watching LSU at Oklahoma on ESPN2 this week. And then we're going to probably start College and Cocktails afterwards at 7:30 p.m. So join us to vent and gush. This week's cocktail is Gymnastics Palace, named after the LSU Gymnastics Palace, the Purple Palace. It is amazing. So we'll see you later this week for the Fantasy Update podcast, and then Friday for College and Cocktails. Don't forget to check out our new designs in the store. And remember to take off on gay, split on rights, and thanks for listening. We'll see you later.